Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Way We See It right here on FFN Radio Network on Facebook, on Twitter, on Twitch, and on YouTube. And you can go and check us out live right now on www.ffnnetwork.live, ladies and gentlemen. That's www.ffnnetwork.live. If you don't want to hear us jokers talking on the airwaves, you could always click another link and you could go to our radio that is live broadcasting some music right now. I think the genre right now is 80s type of music. But with that being said, we got a pretty big show for you all tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We got a pretty big show, a lot to go over, and we're going to do our best to try to get everything in as much as possible because we got a great show. Tonight's poll, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's poll question is: Can Donald Trump win the 2024 election? Boys, don't stop freaking out back there in the green room. We will get to it. We're also going to talk about the Donald Trump, his CPAC speech. We have a little bit of video for that for you all to check out. We're also going to dabble in Fauci or whatever his name is, and it doesn't matter. He got busted. All right. No matter how any way that the Democrats want to swing this, we busted them cold. With the lab leak in Wuhan that FFN Radio Network has been saying that it has been the origin since 2020. Um, more Biden China deals, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, we got a big one tonight. And one that I can't wait to tackle is the sexually explicit books and intrusive student surveys and gender identity programs that are going around in our school. Um, and again, last but not least, because there's a lot, yeah. And the four kidnapped Americans in Mexico, which I'm sure that some of you might know by now, they found two dead and two are back home. So we're going to touch base on that. And with that being said, let me bring in the boys tonight and Mr. Jim, Mr. D, and our special guest, Mr. B. Um, so the poll question for tonight, boys, is again, can Donald Trump win the 2024 election? And I'll start with you, Mr. B.
Can Donald Trump do it? I'll tell you how he can do it. How he can sew it up and do it right now. Come out and announce DeSantis as his running mate. Donald Trump takes DeSantis under his wing as his running mate, and that's it. Show's over. Tulsi Gabbard, she's old news, and the rest of the people that showed up over at CPAC, forget them. They're stale crust of bread to be trampled on by your feet. This is what we've got, and it would be a Trump freight train.
All right. Well, the problem I have with that is number one is DeSantis isn't going to go for that. But I think politically, I don't know. I mean, probably be a good idea, right? He vice president for 4 years with Trump, and then when that Trump's all done, You know what I mean? DeSantis just becomes, the running mate. Mr. D, what's your thoughts?
Um, I really don't see it going that way. In a perfect Republican world, Mr. B, I believe that would be the ideal situation. But we got what's the word what I'm looking for? Egos.
Oh,
We
no.
got two big egos here, and DeSantis is here. I go. I'm gonna get on my military horse. Hang on,
That's
guys.
all right, baby. You got it.
Hang on.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Pull the
Whoa.
reins back. Pull the reins
Saddle
back.
that thing up, will you?
He's a commanding officer of the Navy Reserve. You know what I mean? So the guy is served and stuff, and I just don't see DeSantis lowering his level to get on the Trump train. But I do see some other formidable opponents against Trump, and I really would like to see the DeSantis presidency with a Tim Scott or a Nikki Haley as a vice president.
Okay. She was at the CPAC with Trump too. I believe.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, she was there.
Mr. Jim, your thoughts?
Well, that was kind of a two-part question, I think. With the first one, the actual question is, can he win? And I don't know. I still don't know. I think I don't know, man. It's an uphill battle for him. I'm going to say that. I don't think it's as easy as what people think it's going to be. If it was, I think it would have been that way the first time around, but it wasn't. So let's say he does. That's just my opinion. That's the way I see it.
Right.
Maybe not the way we see it, but that's the way I see it.
Nice.
And
Cool.
as far as DeSantis running with him, again, I think I can't say it any better than D did. That's like the Republican wet dream right there. But again, they are two totally. I could never imagine them really being on the same ticket. So I don't think that would happen. That was actually a question I was going to ask before. Who would be the best VP running with him? And do you think, with all the controversy that Trump has brought, that they'd even want to be on that ticket? Was another question. But I don't know.
So-
I think I'd like to see a DeSantis, Nikki Haley too. To be honest with you, I think that would be a really incredible administration. To be honest with you.
So you think Trump's going to have a problem with a running mate, Mr. B?
I don't know.
Do I think he's going to have a problem with a running mate?
Yeah, getting a running mate. Yeah.
I'll be very honest with you. There are some that we know would hop on in a second. We don't want them. There are others that there are others that may think, you know what, Trump is just too damaged by all of the not things that he did, but all of the controversy that they stirred up and said he did this, he did that. People are just tired of it. They're just tired of it, and they say, you know what, I don't want to do it. And his own children backed away and said, you know what, we're done with the political thing. We're going back to our businesses. So this is something else that he's going to have to scrape off the pot before it burns and sticks and ruins the sauce.
Right. Okay. Well, so since we're on it, let's continue with it. I got about a good 3 minutes of Trump at the CPAC. We'll take a quick little listen to that, and then we'll continue. Everyone should have their briefs with you, so we could all take a peek at that as the video is being played. Let me just cue that up if I could.
Hey, Mr. B, we did a vote, and we all unanimously 2-1. Me and Jim voted for you to be permanently on this spot. Blazeman had a problem with that. Sorry, Jim.
That's all right.
Gentlemen, you're too kind. You truly are.
Nah, brother.
I genuinely appreciate it. I thank you for welcoming me into your fold and for being so kind and open-minded.
New
Yes,
York,
sir.
it gets tougher, but he's a terrific guy, great lawyer too, and he's a strong guy. You know, he stopped somebody coming at him with a knife. I don't know. He grabbed that guy's hand. He looked pretty tough, and he drove him to the ground. Lee Zeldin, where's Lee? Hi, Lee. Thank you. Good job, Lee. West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrissey. Patrick. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost. Thank you, Dave. Former Acting Attorney General of the United States, Matt Whitaker. Matt. A friend of mine who knows the border, knows more about illegal immigration than the next 10 people combined, Stephen Miller. Stephen. One of my favorite generals, a guy who's just great. He's got a lot of common sense and a lot of smarts, and he's been doing a lot of television lately, and he does a fantastic for criminals. Junk, most important battle in our Thank you, James. In our movement, the greatest political movement in the history of our country. There's nobody going to even question it, even the fake news media. That's a lot of fake news back there. And by the way, I want to thank the fire department. Look at these people. They're up the rafters. Thank you, fire department. But the greatest in our history, most important battle in our lives is taking place right now as we speak. For 7 years, you and I have been engaged in an epic struggle to rescue our country from the people who hate it and want to absolutely destroy it. The sinister forces trying to kill America have done everything they can to stop me, to silence you, and to turn this nation into a socialist dumping ground for criminals, junkies, Marxists, thugs, radicals, and dangerous refugees that no other country wants. No other country wants them. If those opposing us succeed, our once beautiful USA will be a failed country that no one will even recognize, a lawless, open borders, crime-ridden, filthy communist nightmare. That's what it's going, and that's where it's going. I used to say that we will never be a socialist country. I said it oftentimes. I said it once at the State of the Union address, and people didn't understand what I was saying. But I'd shout it out loud, and I was right, because that train has passed the station long ago of socialism. It never even came close to starting, frankly. We're now in a Marxism state of mind, a communism state of mind, which is far worse. We're a nation in decline. Our enemies are desperate to stop us because they know that we are the only ones who can stop them. They know that. This room, so important, the people in this room. They know that we can defeat them. They know that we will defeat them, but they're not coming after me. They're coming after you, and I'm just standing in their way. That's all I'm doing. I'm standing in their way. And that's why I'm here today. That's why I'm standing before you, because we are going to finish what we started. We started something that was a miracle. We're going to complete the mission. We're going to see this battle.
Maybe you want to cut this down a little bit? It's warm, right?
We're going to make
Put it on like
America
67.
great again.
Okay, gentlemen. Like I said, I did my best with that one. It's an hour and a half. So, with that being said, we're going to throw out a little bit of questions and we get some answers and some responses. Also, for people that are watching the show live, this one will go out to Mr. B. Mr. B, what is the CPAC and why is it important?
I think Mr. B is frozen.
Oh, he's coming back.
I'm back. Oh, this damn Norton crap. We there?
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah, we're good.
I got you.
Okay. A CPAC, what is it? It is a conservative action political conference, is what it's called. But basically, a conference of people, of right-wing people trying to steer a presidential or major elections and the Republican Party, pretty much.
Jim?
Yeah, that's what he just said. So it's a group of like-minded people. Well, they
why
use
is
it a
it
lot
so
of times. Well, normally it's supposed to be it's like a chess club. Everybody goes and learns each other's moves. And they're doing that to kind of pick out the head of the pack and who they think is going to be the leader of their choice, so to speak, or their nominee. That's why they run, polls and stuff like that in it at the same time to see who's the head honcho.
Right. Mr.
And
D.
yes,
Who-
sir. Thank you, Blaze. I
Yep.
would like to add on the CPAC and what Mr. B and Mr. Jim said is totally correct. And I'd just like to add one more thing, and you guys can disagree with me if you would like. It's a big place where they start their donors, where money's going to come from, and I believe that's the opening spot where they christen the boat, and who's going to get the majority of the money.
Right.
I really
That's
believe
what
that.
I think that the CPAC is. I understand it's what everybody, what it's supposed to be, but let's just be honest here. And it's a big draw for money, see what's happening, all of those fun things like that.
Yeah, it's
Jim,
definitely for people though. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, Jim, this one's out to you. Were there any notable absences from the CPAC this year?
Yeah, I guess a couple of the like the big hard hitters of the what do you call it, the Republican Party were actually missing there. Like Tim Scott wasn't there, Glenn Youngkin, and Mike Pence actually wasn't there either. So yeah, it was. They said it was kind of I don't know if they used the word sparse, but it wasn't as big of an event as it has been in past years. It's been kind of dwindling away, so they say. Yeah, so there was definitely some people missing there that you would expect to have shown up.
Mr. B.
I'd like to just touch in on that. You mentioned about Pence not showing up. I truly believe that Pence is going to have the good sense to not show up where anything having to do with Donald Trump comes into play at this point. I think if anything, he wants to turn around and
Wait
run
a
tail.
minute. So you mean Mike Pence isn't going to be Trump's running mate again this year? No, I'm sorry, this year. In a couple of years. But Pence says he was going to run. Mr. D.
Yeah, and what Mr. B said, yes, but eventually Mr. Pence is going to have to confront his biggest phobia right now, and if he wants to make a run for the presidency, and that would be, damn it, what the hell they call that, Jim? When a reporter asks him questions, debates.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's
Yeah, no, seriously, man. And this shit with Trump, giving guys nicknames and all, that shit's old, man. Go ahead, Jim.
I was gonna say you're right. Yeah, and that's part of that whole. Do I want to be a part of this thing, and why I think it's going to be hard sometimes to or for him maybe to find. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Like you said, Mr. B, there's plenty of people that would jump on there, but is it what we want? But to your point too, D, that's something DeSantis I don't think wants a part of. But we'll find out. But one thing he did say, I was just about to say a lot. He was kind of toned down from what he normally was. He didn't do, compared to what I thought it was going to be. But he did get to throw in there there's a lot of fake news back there.
Yeah.
Seeing it. Oh wow, there's a lot of fake news back there. I thought that was great.
Well, I don't think he's ever lied when he said fake news. To be honest with you,
if there was
there's
ever
a lot of it going on. A lot of it going on.
And,
go ahead, D.
No, that's all right, Blaze. I can hold this one.
Yep. So, for me, do you think the majority of the crowd was there to see him speak?
Definitely.
Mr. B?
Oh.
I believe that's the reason why that they showed up was to see Trump speak and to make a final decision. Are we backing the right guy? Are we still believing in the right person? I think that some people showed up with some question in the back of their mind, and they needed to have it solidified so that they're ready to go with it and run with it.
Right, Jim. Let's go back to Jim real quick. D, sorry,
Yes.
you had
No,
something
you're
you had
good,
to
bro.
say.
No.
No, I just was I actually lost my train of thought listening.
All right,
to
on to Mr. D. Go ahead, D.
Maybe I can refresh. And again, I'm a big time Fox News
Advocate, yeah.
avid viewer, listener, all that good stuff. And this time around, I don't see too much support from Trump on the news channel. And I'm going to tell you why, because Rupert Murdoch, still has ties, his hands in the cookie jar of the Fox News channel. They're going through, I don't want to say horrible. I'm trying to find an adjective, not a pronoun. We have plenty of pronouns now. But an adjective, they're going through a lawsuit, man, from Dominion. And Dominion, everybody knows. Yeah, man. And Murdoch wants Sean Hannity gone, Laura Ingle gone. There was a couple more. Maria
they're good
Bartiromo.
reporters. Yeah, they're good reporters.
No, they faked some shit, man. These people are powerful in conservative eyes, man.
Right. Well, then we can't go and jump on how Fox faked some shit when CNN is the one and only proprietor of fucking faking shit. So.
No, well, you haven't ventured off, and I understand, but you haven't
No,
gone to MSNBC.
I do.
You haven't gone
I
to
can only tolerate MSNBC for about 15 minutes, and then I can't watch the shit that comes out of that newsroom anymore.
I can, because it gives me a good gauge of where this country's at, man. Because MSNBC does have a following, man. And get back to that CPAC. That's one of the biggest things the news media will be at, especially the left-wing media. They want to be at a CPAC. When it comes to rallies or anything like that, you won't catch them there. Not this year.
Going back and just finishing off, I got my train of thought back again. Either way, one way or the other, I mean, I guess it's not the one reason to me it was kind of important that not as many people show up is it makes whatever they do there, I think, a little less important, actually. And by that, I mean, you had the straw poll that was taken, and, Trump crushed the rest of the crowd, 62%. I think the next guy runner-up was DeSantis, but he only had like 19%. And I guess the point is, if you have this room of people who are just like Trump loving, and these other guys aren't in the room, means they didn't vote, I'm assuming. So it kind of shortens and makes your pool a little more clicky, if you know what I mean. So I think if most people knew Trump was going and they were going there to see Trump, and that's what the turnout was for, then naturally that's what you're going to get. Is it a real read of where the rest of the Republican Party is going to put their votes? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Go ahead, D.
No, and that's a good point, Jim, that you brought up. So the numbers are reflecting of who showed up from the Trump, the diehard Trumponians. I guess that's got to give it a name.
Okay, we can go with that. Yeah.
I agree with that, Jim. Our best gauge is going to be at Iowa or New Hampshire on the first elections and stuff.
Gentlemen, first of all,
Mr. B.
I do have to give you a point of correction here. The correct term is Trumpublicans.
All right.
Trumpublicans.
I thought it was retards.
Trump ponies sounds really good too.
Trumponians. I think we're going to go with Trumponians.
The Trumponians. Pony, you're talking about like, sounds like Bonanza. Jackass. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't work for me.
My little Trumponians.
with the hair that goes this way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's what we're going to see. Maybe that's all we're going to see is the people that are cropping up to see Trump, and they already know they've already made their decision.
Okay, so if Trump wins the nomination, who do you think he would choose for his vice president?
Well, we already kind of went over that, I think. No, I mean,
No, we didn't. We
I
didn't
don't
really
know.
pick anybody that would go with him. We said that the person. I think he would have a hard time finding a running mate. What if he just gets up there, right? Like you said earlier, Jim, in his speech at the CPAC, um, he didn't come out like except for that one fake news thing. He was pretty much mild. What if he could
No,
control
I
that?
mean, did you? I don't know.
What if he could control that? Let's do the way we see it down a rabbit hole. What if he can control his nonsense the way he speaks?
I don't know. I mean, I think he's gone. Honest to God, I mean, I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but if anything, I would assume that he would. He was just measured. You know. I mean, don't get me wrong. He still definitely said like Trump things. I mean, I listened to the whole entire hour and 45 minutes of it, and again, he wasn't holding back. But it wasn't more. Time's going to tell with that. And if he can hold it back, I don't know. I still don't know, again, who would be a really good vice president at this point. I mean, I think all the people that again, like we talk about DeSantis and the Tim Scotts and things like that. I don't know. There's a lot of different people out there that are good. I'd be waiting to see who is going to throw their hat in the ring. It's really what I think it's going to boil down to is who's willing to, walk with him and
Right.
say that they're a MAGA person. That's
Right. JJ, real quick, that's going to be a political thing for the rest of our lives. They're always going to try to go for your guns. Mr. D, do you want to add to Mr. Jim's comment?
No, it's spot on. My only concern is Donald Trump got beat by Joe Biden the first time. What makes it not think he's going to beat him the second time?
Right. Mr. B, 1 minute.
He's froze.
Yeah, I think he froze again.
A bitch. Yep, here we go.
Did you insert your disc into the hard drive?
I think it locks up on him when he stays still for a long time. Go ahead, Mr. B.
Could very well
Your thoughts.
My thoughts are how many of you got a buck in your pocket right now? Pull it out, put it up on the thing, stick it to your refrigerator. I got $1 says it's DeSantis.
Vice President.
Gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
All right, well, you're on. I'm going to put $1 on my fridge for you. I'll mail it to you.
So you're saying
outstanding.
You're saying Mr. Trump is going to select Mr. DeSantis as his vice president running mate for the 2024 election.
What do you think would happen if he did?
Well, it's not going to happen.
That's a good point. I mean, I don't know. That's a good point. I think he would get more votes that way than I don't know. A lot of people kind of view him the same way as they view Trump. He basically is kind of like the Trump without the Trump. You know what I mean? His policies are pretty damn close in line.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, sending illegals up to New England was pretty bold. So.
And you noticed how demure Donald Trump was at CPAC.
Yeah.
He's turning over a different leaf. He's doing things a little bit differently. Gentlemen, all of the crazy things that happened that happened because they happened at D-Day on the side of the Nazis happened. And they lost the war because of all of these crazy things that nobody believed could possibly happen. Happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, stick around for more of The Way We See It. We're going to run a little break real quick. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Mr. Fauci and, how he's getting buried underwater because of, all his false narratives. So we'll be right back right after this ad.
Hey, this is Jerry from the Neutral Corner on FFN Media. Every Thursday night, 7 to 8, catch my show live. We are talking with legends, we're talking with professionals, we're talking with amateurs, we're also talking about gyms and different programs they have. You can catch us live on FFN Media, 7 to 8 p.m. Not only can you catch us live, you can actually ask questions in the comments and interact with our guests. Hope to see you then.
Hey guys, Nick Parsons here. Come check my show Unbox Thoughts out. Live every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the FFN Radio Network page.
Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?
And we're back. Thanks for sticking around for more of The Way We See It with yours truly, Blazeman, Mr. Jim, Mr. D, and special guest tonight, Mr. B. Don't forget to check out Mr. B's show tomorrow from 7 to 8 p.m. Politicking with Mr. B. JJ Souza had a question in quick comment. He says, is America the best country in the world?
Yes.
I would say,
I mean, I
I would
don't.
say yes.
I mean,
Mr.
I'd like
B?
to hear who would say any other country's better. I mean, in terms of
Well, a lot of times, a lot of people say, "Oh, America's free." There's a lot of countries that are free countries.
yeah, I'm all set.
Not
I've
just
been to a
America.
couple other
Listen,
countries. I'm really
my
into it.
thing about that is, if you want to come and screw something over, you know what I mean, or I don't know, just embellish something or whatever, just come to America. But let's see. All right, let me just take a peek at that real quick. And
Well,
Anyway,
this video that I posted on the private chat, I just received it from one of our viewers in Louisiana and stuff,
yeah,
and it really stuck me because you're going to hear a bunch of statistics and you're going to see NBA and NFL, and what they're trying to show is, who's worse, the NBA or NFL for convicts, and it's going to surprise you at the end in his response.
okay. Well, we can touch base on that in a little bit.
Yes, sir.
I'll try to fit it in there, D. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So moving on. Let's see here. Yeah, we're gonna move on to some Fauci, and we're gonna play this video. To me, when I was researching and with a little help from Jim, I caught this video, and this video for me says a lot on how much the American people were lied to. Okay, These three gentlemen that we're about to play are prominent, very, very high prominent in their fields. Okay, and excuse me, let's just take a listen to these gentlemen, and your mind might get blown as well. So get head out of the gutter, Jim.
It's where I live, Blaze. Sorry. Can't do it. Is this, which one is this?
Misinformation. The greatest perpetrator of misinformation during the pandemic has been the United States government. Misinformation that COVID was spread through surface transmission, that vaccinated immunity was far greater than natural immunity, that masks were effective. Now we have the definitive Cochrane review. What do you do with that review? Cochrane is the most authoritative evidence body in all of medicine and has been for decades. Do you just ignore it, not talk about it? That myocarditis was more common after the infection than the vaccine. Not true. It's 4 to 28 times more common after the vaccine. That young people benefit from a booster. Misinformation. Our two top experts on vaccines quit the FDA in protest over this particular issue, pushing boosters in young, healthy people. The data was never there. That's why the CDC never disclosed hospitalization rates among boosted Americans under age 50. The vaccine mandates would increase vaccination rates. The George Mason University study shows it didn't. It did one thing. It created never vaxxers who are now not getting the childhood vaccines they need to get. Over and over again, we've seen something that goes far beyond using your best judgment with the information at hand. We've seen something which is unforgivable, and that is the weaponization of medical research itself. The CDC putting out their own shoddy studies, like their own study on natural immunity, looking at one state for 2 months, when they had data for years on all 50 states. Why did they only report that one sliver of data? Why did they salami slice the giant database? Because it gave them the result they wanted. Same with masking study. Well, the data has now caught up in giant systematic reviews, and the public health officials were intellectually dishonest. They lied to the American people. Thank you.
Okay, Jim, I'm going to let you open this one up, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll start with the comment of the, oh my God, the COVID shit again, old news guys, which, this isn't old news though. I mean, this is new news. That's why it's called news.
Exactly.
But this just shows that what we were saying all along, it may be old news to you and probably the other three guys that are sitting here with me and most of the people listening to the show. But, we said this right in the beginning with a lot of other people, that there's no way that some dude went to a market somewhere and ate a bat and that started this entire global pandemic. It's just not, nobody believed it then. And obviously we know why. But the even more troubling part of this is the fact that this guy was like Fauci. He was like responsible for most of the information that came out to us. He was responsible for some of these fake papers that were written, or at least had his hand in it or signed off on it or whatever the case may be. I mean, there's pretty much proof right now of it. And this guy was one of the highest paid government officials. This guy was people put their trust in. People died because of this guy. And no matter which way you look at it, at this point, how can you possibly trust anything that comes out of a news media, because the news media pushed this too. It wasn't just Fauci, Trump came out and said something, they went against it. It was fake news. It was wrong. You know what I'm saying? No matter what he said, they shit all over it. Ivermectin, the hydrochloroquine stuff, that people actually did see treatments that worked for them. So, every part of what was told to us was a giant lie, and we have proof of it. So it is a big deal to me. And this guy deserves to be in prison. He doesn't deserve to be getting paid for misguiding people and having people die because of this.
It was an absolutely big 100% again, we've been talking about this since 2020, since it happened, that leak came from that lab, okay? And as soon as the proper people that were coming out and started talking about it, real scientists, real doctors, you know what I mean? And I say that, being a little bit of an ass because obviously the other people are doctors as well. But um, why? What was there to gain to doing any of this? Okay, there's a gain of function. Trying to deny it's
Money.
not gain of function. Of course, it's gain of function. You know what I mean? You took um, a virus and you messed around with it to see if it can be conducted by
Transmissed.
transmitted to a human. That was your whole point to do that, and God only knows why. You can imagine the type of chemicals and the type of viruses that they're growing. Us, mostly us. You know what I mean? But uh, it pisses me off because, like JJ's statement is, "Oh my God, here we go with COVID again." It's got to be, oh my God. You know what I mean? Because the simple fact now you get all the millennials, they're all scared of vaccines now because they don't know what the hell to believe. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm not going to get my child vaccinated. Number one, Pfizer, everybody seems to forget that all of this was not authorized by the CDC. Okay. It was emergency authorization. Okay? So it's like the guy at the lab's like this. Okay, let's see if this okay, that works with that and okay, that works with that. Okay, we got an emergency vaccine, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? It's like it, I know, bro. It's funny because it's so ridiculous and so out of this earth that people, especially people in our government, our scientists, everything, um, will lie to you just so they can get that funding for their lab. You know what I mean? And this is big in itself. Okay, it leaked. I don't know why they said it didn't leak there. China's gonna go
Well,
until the
there's a whole reason why they lied. Because
right,
they were doing it originally in the United States. Fauci and Collins and all the people that were funding these little labs and working with these viruses, and they shut it down. So we don't want you doing that. It's not legal in the United States. So they took their money they were granted and they sent it over in China. Now here's another thing you had said. You don't know why. I mean, I do actually understand the reasoning behind why they do this shit. It is to create vaccines. It's to do things like that where certain strains that they need to, I guess, build vaccines for, they need viruses.
right, and I understand that, James. I do.
So I guess the point is the reason why it happened and it got covered up was because they weren't supposed to be doing it and we funded it. That's why it got covered up. And
Right, and
China
they
just
shipped it
lies
up.
to you. I mean, they still don't even ever say they have a problem. They're like, nope, never had a case.
Right, and
They're lining
China's
people
just
up and shooting them and burying them in shallow graves. So,
exactly,
I mean, you
exactly.
can't believe anything that comes out of China. And Mr. B, please, because you've been trying to get
Gentlemen, first and foremost, I have to ask you this. Do you know what they call the person who graduated last in their class at medical school?
a doctor.
Yes, there you go. They still call him doctor. Now, anybody, and I mean anybody, who hasn't let it sink into their heads yet that this release of the coronavirus or whatever else wasn't deliberate has got to be profoundly retarded. China did this deliberately, boys. Wake up about it. You're talking about the world being under attack by this and that, whatever else. Every single way we turn around, we're being attacked by something. What makes anybody, and I mean anyone, believe that China didn't do this deliberately to take and further weaken our country, weaken our resolve, and make another hole into which they can punch their way across into our borders and take our country from us. They're buying our damn land, our farmlands out from under us. Wake up,
You got a
boys.
pretty
It's
good.
there.
Yeah.
Well, somebody
Well, I
mentioned-
mean, but they're going to kill off their own people at the same time. You think
They
that's?
don't care.
But
They
if
have
you're-
plenty
if-
of them.
But if it's a virus that's that deadly, or you know what I'm saying? If it right, here's where I'm getting
that's
at. Hold on. Let me finish my thought. If it was a virus that was deadly enough to take out 20 to 45-year-old people, I'd agree 100% with you. But the problem is, it was a virus that only took out old people, and half of the people who are running the show in China are old. You know what I mean? Like their government isn't. So why would you subject yourself to something that could possibly kill you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
to me,
go ahead.
no, that's all I was saying. I mean, again, if it was this super bug, that's going to kill people between 20 and 45, and these guys already had the vaccine, then you're like, holy shit,
Right. But then, but at the time, it wasn't, Jim. You know what I mean? At the time,
well, then why would they do it?
It was just that guy in the lab, like I was saying, and they were trying to see what they could do. And thank God, when it leaked, it was only at this certain level. You know, they usually go to level 5s as far as those kind of like places. 5's like the worst. It's got the worst Ebola, all that shit. Anyways, this thing's like probably like a level 3. You know what I mean? And they were seeing how much powerful they could make it, and at that time it gets leaked out of there. All right, it gets leaked out of the lab. So, but to sit there and have people, Fauci, his people, the CDC, okay, sit back and go, all right, look, man, all right, this is out. Okay, here's our analysis, here's our paperwork, and we're figuring that, people under 40. You know what I mean? They're probably going to get really sick. You know what I mean? But it can be, take care of. Anybody above the age of, 50
I don't think
and
they.
higher. Well, look, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I do, though. I do think that that's how that went down. You know what I mean? Because now there's nothing they're going to do about it. China is going to stay in the dark about it just like they are now. Okay? So if everybody was on board and said, fuck, oh my God, this is going to wipe out, a good amount of people, let's give them what we got so far for the vaccine that terminates this thing. Nobody did that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess that point is going to be. I don't know if we'll ever really actually know the truth about that, but I guess the truth here is at this point is that Fauci, helped co-write papers and misinformation stuff and put it through the news on every news outlet and fed it to every American person. Whether you believe it or not is it doesn't really matter. And in that point, I mean, that's the point of what we're talking about.
You got to believe it now, Jim, because there's too much out now.
Can we get down to the brass tacks of this?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. B.
When and who and how are people going to be held accountable for this bullshit?
Nobody is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. That's what pisses me off. That's why I talk about it, because I don't want people to forget that you got this. This is bullshit. I mean,
how your government can literally fucking screw you like that?
Yeah, I mean, look at all the. It is to the vaccine part of it where. All the studies that they do have now show that there are negative effects all over the place, side effects, excuse me. And people lost their jobs, lost their houses. I mean, because of that. And there was a lot of fallout from that. So no, this guy deserves to be having his feet held to the fire, and anybody else who was around him that was involved with it needs to as well.
Yes,
I mean, again,
the president of the CDC, they all need to go. Mr. D, you are becoming more of a fan than a participant. Yeah. Weigh in on some of this, there, my friend. Yes.
Your mic's muted.
Your mic's muted.
Thanks, Jim. This is getting real old, but I understand your intent here. Dr. Fauci is a snake. I mean, he's got his handprints all over this accident that happened at the Wuhan lab. And yes, Blaze man, we did report this 2 years ago. It came from the lab versus the wet market. I understand that, but my biggest concern is, uh, was this? I mean, yeah, Fauci was in the door communicating with these folks, but did China say to themselves at one time, "Hey, let's spike this gain of control up and let it loose, and let's see if it's got any biological intent to destroy humans?" And I really believe that was their end state with this gain of function. Not with Fauci. I believe the Chinese fucked Fauci. But the money was given through us, man. And
Yes.
that's why the fuck we even fucking with China when it comes to shit like this.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
man.
I mean,
No, seriously.
why does China have this? Why does China have this hold on this country? You know what I mean?
Because we
Because
rely on them for everything. That's
yes,
why.
and number two, my point. I would say number one, yours number two, is is the fact that I'm losing my train of thought. God damn it. Moving
No,
on, Mr.
it's not
B.
God's fault.
Sir.
It's your fault.
Yes.
What's up, Blaze?
I'm sorry.
Is it-
Blaze,
I'm
are you
here.
talking?
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I guess
Hello.
we can talk about China.
Can you hear me? All
Yeah, I
right.
can
Well,
hear
Yeah,
you
I can
now.
hear
all
you
right.
now.
Um, I'm just population control. Also, the rabbit hole that this goes down. I mean, we've played video on this network of Microsoft guru. Um, this guy's infatuated with it. He donates billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars to for vaccines, and he's in deep with this stuff. Excuse me, and he was out physically videos saying we need control the population. We have to control the population.
You're talking about Bill Gates.
Yes, yes.
Bill
Okay.
Gates.
He wants to control the population. So now you leak something, like I said. They got together and said, how much damage can this do? Well, let's not. It's only going to, be very harmful to the elderly. Okay, so all right, let's see what we can do. Get some of these manufacturers, Pfizer. You notice how Johnson and Johnson was the only one that was kicked out by the other two big pharmaceutical companies.
But
I
You
didn't
don't.
notice that, but
You
that
didn't. You
that
don't. Go ahead, D.
no, that usually happens when you're bidding for a government contract. You'll
Right.
have I'm
Right.
serious, man.
No, I'm
I'm
laughing
serious.
because you're fucking right. That's
Yep.
what I'm trying to say with all of this.
They were funded at the beginning, the three of them, but it looks like the two that went to mass production, Pfizer and Moderna. I mean, I guess they hit all the bells and gates that they had to on the.
But Moderna is gone. This is like Pfizer's thing now.
I think you mean
You know?
they greased all the palms. They didn't hit the gates. They greased palms.
No,
No,
yeah,
go
that
ahead,
too,
D.
man.
Just
No,
a little
that
bit.
yeah,
Go
that.
ahead, D.
But on that request for a proposal, I'm pretty sure I had its. What's the word I'm looking for?
merit bait.
Yes,
No.
and no, the certain points it needs to hit. Does this
Yeah.
medication? I, it's out of my lane.
Thresholds.
Yes, yes.
But the other thing with the vaccine was the cardiac it was causing on the young people. They didn't expect this. You know what I mean? And now these young people, were dying from heart attacks because this vaccine was coagulating with their blood. You know what I mean? Thickening it up, all that stuff like that.
So you think
Yeah.
Damar Hamlin suffered a heart attack because he got vaccinated? Because
I
to
I don't
play in
I
the
don't know. I don't.
NFL, you got to be vaccinated.
Right? Absolutely, D.
You
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely.
I mean,
All
they
right,
kind of.
but wait. I'm sorry, Jim. Just hold on. If that does come out to be a fact, somehow, some way, the doctors there in the NFL, they're like, same thing with the brain injuries with the NFL's players going crazy. You can only see the damage after the player is dead. And the NFL's not going to come out and say, yeah, he had the heart attack because he got the vaccine. Even if they know that to be true, they would never say that. Agree?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it? I have no idea on that one. I don't know. A lot of people mandated vaccines. So I mean, in that case, I don't think it would. It's not going to be on them. I mean, it's no different than when so many people mandated vaccines. So I don't know. It's kind of
Right.
like
And
hey,
I
that's what
agree
we
with
thought.
you.
We thought we were doing the right thing. Sorry.
But
You
this
know what I
is
mean?
mostly happening now. In other words, like we know about it now because so many cases. So it happened so many times, so many cases that some doctors were like, "Hey, we got to say something about this," and then that's how it slowly, come out. How many do we know prior to that? Maybe while they were still sweeping it under the rug. We don't know, but we do know it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. B.
But there's a question I want to ask because that kept every time you turn on a television or radio, open up a newspaper, whatever it was, there was a new tally. So many people have died. So many people have died. So many people died, and they kept attributing deaths. Every single death that happened to COVID. Before all this happened, how many people in a day died in the United States? While COVID was going on, how many people in a day were dying in the United States?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for.
Well,
nobody seems to have the answer.
We
or want to
have
give
video.
the answer.
FFN Network has video again because we covered this. The reason why FFN Network was built was because of COVID. Okay, so our first year was just everything COVID. My thing here is that again, losing my train of thought.
What do you got? Fucking Alzheimer's tonight or something? What's going on?
Yeah,
dude?
that's what I don't know, bro. I don't know. Retract me.
Okay, we were talking about how many people in America died before COVID came out, and they were attributing every single death to COVID.
Right.
How many people?
Very much,
how many
Mr.
people?
B. We have video here on FFN in the archives. I could dig it out for another show, where we had officials getting up on the podiums and saying, "Look, if you die of a car accident, and that's what you died from, but during the autopsy or whatever situation it is, you was positive for COVID. That death didn't go down as you being in the car wreck. That death went down as you dying from COVID.
My point
That's
exactly.
A fact. That's an absolute 100% fact. There's data out there. Go ahead, D.
But do you know why? Because these hospitals were getting reimbursed from the government. I believe $34,000 if they dealt with COVID.
Yeah, if it was a COVID death.
So who are you to blame here? The medical profession or the government? The medical professional.
Yeah,
they fell into it too, man, because they were looking for the money.
Right.
Yeah, it
Keep
is
going,
pretty
brother.
much.
Talk to me, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, I agree, 100%. But now people need to be held accountable for the. Again, it's not like, oh shit, I made a mistake, I forgot this, I didn't do this right, dude. You outright lied, and this is just like everybody who could made money off this, and it's kind of sick. So I just want people to be held accountable for once.
But
I know.
Hey, you get the bell for the day.
Oh, shit, man.
Awesome.
All right, folks. With that being said, stick around for more of the way we see it right here on FFN Network. Don't forget to go to www.ffnnetwork.live. I will be putting that up on a screen during our little break here, and I got a little bit of surprise for our viewers and a surprise for my boy Jim. This goes right up our alley here. So
I'm afraid,
okay.
Blaze.
Don't be.
I don't like your surprises.
This is on TikTok, so it doesn't allow me to put the screen huge. So, anyways, check this out, and ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be right back right after these breaks.
I think there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or, whether those aliens are here or not. I'm not sure I'm going to talk to them, but they're real. I promise you. I guarantee you. I've had this encounter with one of them. And I'd get up in the middle of the night with a flashlight, and I'd look for them. I could tell when I saw him. When he put his hand out, he went like this. All of a sudden, I was raised very, very high. And he looked at me and said, Look at me, Joey. I come from outer space. I've gone, oh my God. What's happening? Please don't leave us. Don't leave us. And it was all gone. I know that sounds silly, but I mean, everybody thought I was a little nuts. But it happened. It happened. Think about that. Mr. President, what am I doing here?
All right. Okay, let's. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll have more with President Joe Biden.
Hey, this is Jerry from the Neutral Corner on FFN Media. Every Thursday night, 7 to 8, catch my show live. We are talking with legends, we're talking with professionals, we're talking with amateurs, we're also talking about gyms and different programs they have. You can catch us live on FFN Media, 7 to 8 p.m. Not only can you catch us live, you can actually ask questions in the comments and interact with our guests. Hope to see you then.
Hey guys, Nick Parsons here. Come check my show Unbox Thoughts out. Live every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the FFN Radio Network page.
Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?
everybody. Thanks for sticking around for more of The Way We See It right here on FFN Network. Check us out on FFN Radio Network on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Okay, and now don't forget to go and check out our newly built website. Everything is live on the website. That's why it's www.ffnnetwork.live. Okay, you can watch us live streaming. We have live radio broadcast up there with shows coming next week with Sipping Tea with Mr. B or something to that effect. That's going to be on Monday through Friday. So yeah, check it out. Just going a little bit backwards here in a sense that I'm pretty pissed off about this next subject that we're about to go with here. So just bear with me for 1 second now. I'll take this down. All right. So sexually explicit books and intrusive student surveys and gender identity programs. Okay, this is all coming from a Maine school civil rights team accused of bullying at rowdy school board meeting on parental rights. We got a little video here, and we'll pop that up, and then we'll take it from there, boys. All right. We'll bring the panel back with Mr. Jim, Mr. D, and Mr. B. And we're going to pop this son of a gun right up over here. And then we're moving on.
My daughter's middle school experience was a genuine struggle. She was harassed about her sexuality by students who are asked by the Civil Rights Club to open discussions about these private matters as part of their club goals. She's not political, but she does not want to talk about her sexuality in school. They insisted she was gay because she dressed gay and listened to gay music. She was then called homophobic because she wasn't at least bi. The same club in middle school put out their own survey without notifying parents, asking kids about their sexuality, then handed out pronoun PIDs for kids to label themselves in open discussion in school. And open discussion in school about sexuality and gender. It took over every aspect of this school for 3 years. By emphasizing differences and forcing conversation, discrimination and bullying are dividing kids more than ever. This literal programming for tolerance, acceptance, and equity is woven into curriculum, clubs, library content, and counselors' programming, and lawyers ensure policy is loose enough to enable it.
Hey, babe.
This year, her teacher repeatedly
Okay?
told her class he was uncircumcised following multiple warnings.
I'm sorry, we're not.
When every aspect
I
of
can't
school
hear you.
encourages the blurring of private boundaries, how can we be surprised? You board members apparently didn't know that genderqueer was in the library, but now you do. So I ask you, what are you going to do to supervise a superintendent, to supervise a librarian, to ensure policy IJJ is being ethically considered in material selection?
Thank you.
So there you have it. Mr. D?
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
man. For real. Wow.
No. Yeah, no, and this is one of many that are going around in the country. And it's, well, let's look at the head of the snake, and that's that lady Weingarten, president of the teachers union.
Yes.
She's part of the problem, if not all the problem. We've all went into schools. Well, I can't say we all did. I had to go to schools many a times for my son on some disciplinary actions, and as you go into the guidance counselor, so yeah, I'm gonna paint the picture a little. I'm in an army suit. I got a little rank on, so I'm already labeled as dumb. When you sit down with these people, the first thing they try doing is talking down to you. They'll come up where did you go to basic at? And then they'll reply, well, I went to Vanderbilt. and took English up there and stuff. They're very demeaning people, man. And what goes on in them schools, man, it is scary. Case in point, El Paso. Paso's got like 30 high schools here. That's how big the city is. And in their chain of command for one high school, you have one principal and you have like 5 vice principals, and they're segregated by last name endings and stuff. And it's just the overkill, and it seems to me it's more of an institution run by a warden versus an education system run by a principal, and that's all I have.
Okay, but pretty much this is about exploiting your kids to sexual porn.
Yes, and I totally understand that, but you got to look at the root cause, man. The root cause is these teachers and this faculty under these schools.
Right, I
No,
agree with you. And why is this okay? But listen, I don't, this is, to me, it just bothers me beyond comprehension in a sense. Is like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? If you want to wear a fucking dress, I don't care if you want to fucking date a guy. All right? I don't care. I don't want to fucking deal with your fucking reality, so leave me out of it. Okay? You don't think you got to stop putting in the library and Johnny and Sally, and how Johnny, at the age of God knows what, because they don't say, but certainly not a teenager and more like a child between the age of 7 and 12 or whatever, and how Johnny got the finger bang, Miss Joni in the book, or how Johnny and Eric, you know what I mean? Eric was showing Johnny and how to put his hands in his pants and do this stuff to him. That's
I don't
what
know.
they did. Read it up, fellas. Read it up.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what's
the
in
whole
here.
dude. You know what's crazy is that I'm sorry. You had your hand up, Mr. B. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate it. You want to get to the root of this thing? It's the damned teachers' unions. The left-wing, ultra-liberal teachers' unions that have a controlling clutch, that have hijacked our education system to convince all of and in filling our schools with teachers that all fall in lockstep with teaching this crazy stuff, where suddenly it's a world where there isn't a Mr. or Mrs. There's a boy that can give birth. There's 692,451 and a half different genders. And all this crazy stuff. And by the way, whether you want to listen to it or believe it or not, they're cramming it down your throats, and you don't have the right to teach your children or to raise your children. Now it's their right. And if you do something they don't like, what are they going to do? They're going to send the state people after you.
and if it gets out of control, it'll even go to the federal people that'll come after you, as we've seen.
They've
But
already have.
no, but
Continue.
the point I want to make, I mean, and you're right so much. The teachers union is tied in with politics. Why? Because they're big contributors. But you know something? This shit was happening during Trump's time too.
Yes, not as much.
It was born. It was born.
Because people take their children and they put them here. You take care of it. You take
I
the
believe-
child.
Yes,
I don't want
yes.
to take care of the
Good
kids
point.
all day,
Yeah,
all day. Kindergartens and things like that. Why? Because we don't want to be bothered with it.
Yeah.
Good point,
Other
Mr. B.
people are just taking and shoving the children in somebody else's hands to raise them.
Good point.
This entire story to me is I have 2 kids who I don't know how old are you. How old your kid, D? They all grown up, or you?
They grown, brother.
Yeah. So
my youngest,
my
is
kids are living
32.
through. What's that?
But he's also a grandpa, so he can still pay
Yeah. All
attention.
right. So yeah, I'm not saying obviously I know it doesn't matter if your kid grew
Yeah.
up. And, you know,
Go
it
on,
was
Jim.
a different era. The whole point I'm trying to make with this is it's disgusting, dude. These kids they're kids. And there is another video. I don't know if you're going to play more of those. One of them, I think it's one of the last videos on there. It's a guy, and he actually reads like this section of a book. I forget the name of it. I think it's called Twins, something like that. Some real twisted shit, dude. But if you it really is. It's like a freaking book. Yeah, it's some twisted shit. You know, that no kid should have to listen to these stories or this curriculum they're teaching. And if you said this, and this is what the guy says, and this blows my mind. If you said these things to children outside in a park somewhere, you'd get arrested. This isn't things that you talk to a child about, and it's not things that, well, you know, again, if that's what you're going to talk to your kids about, that's parents. It's different. These schools should not be teaching this type of twisted shit in school. I mean, bottom line, they're not old enough to know about it. There's a reason why kids don't go to rated R movies until they're a certain age. There's a reason why we have restrictions, because their brains aren't fully formed and they can't even understand what the hell it is you're talking about. You know what I mean? And the thing that pisses me off is this is part of, well, it's not in my, as far as I know, and I'm actually going to go in, I'm going to dig into this in my own town with my own public schools here that my kids are going to. As far as I know, they don't teach this stuff here, because if they did, I'd be down there with a goddamn pitchfork standing on the sidewalk, because this is not right. These kids are not learning like they are. They have test scores that prove it. Their education level, everything, all their grades and all of it has diminished. They have lacking test scores and everything, yet they're worried about, these crazy books and these crazy gender and all of this stuff. I pay for this. Again, this is in Maine, so technically I don't. Actually, this should have some funneled money there somewhere, but that's what bothers me. It should be illegal. There's one thing in here, and honestly, I don't even want to say it out loud because it sounds so friggin' twisted and sick. One of these guys, again, when you play that video, if you play it, one of these male teachers told a bunch of people on multiple occasions that he's uncircumcised. Why is that even being? Yeah, I'm not kidding you. You got to play the rest of the videos. How is that guy not in jail? That's complete. Like, that would be sexual assault anywhere else. It's disgusting, man. How are these people allowing this to happen? So to me, it's a lot more. It's deeper than just unions. Why isn't the union down there? Why is this allowed to be taught? And how do we stop it?
I know. I'll add something on this real quick. Were you going to go, Mr. B?
No, go ahead, please.
Okay. So on the childhood shit, the left is the childhood, what they're teaching and what they're learning, and these drag shows that come to schools. The left will talk about gun control versus the drag show. And the biggest thing they'll say is, how many people have the drag shows, how many children have drag shows killed versus how many guns have kids died from in gun school. And they got a real good point, but we just need to get somebody smarter in there. And, you talked, I don't know who said it in the panel, we talked about, letting these kids grow on their own and stuff. And it's a process, man. And they're trying to break that process. We can't speed that up. I know, this is the generation, they want it now. No, let this process happen by itself, by Mother Nature, because if you fuck with it, it's going to end up with a fucked up product. And I'm done.
I agree with 99% of that. And also at the same time, I don't care what anybody says. Again, look at the kids, look at the grades, look at the type of.
This book was on a stand. I'd like to read you a page.
Oh, Jesus.
My back over my hips as I ask if we should take our clothes off. And he's saying yes before I finish my sentence. He's pulling off my t-shirt, laughing when I can't undo his shirt buttons. He's undoing my belt. I'm reaching into his bedside drawer for a condom. We're kissing again, we're rolling over. Obviously, you can see where this is going. I don't know if it's because we're feeling especially emotional or just tired, or these past couple of weeks have been too much. But this reminds me so much of the first time we had sex. We were both terrified, and the whole thing was kind of terrible because we didn't know what we were doing. But it was good too, so good, because we were a mess of emotions, and we were scared and excited, and everything felt new. So this sort of feels like that. Nick touches me like he's scared that any minute.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. There's way too much shit that somebody that kid's age should even, like, they can't process.
He's 11. He's 11.
That's crazy, dude. You know what I mean?
11 years old.
You got a birth certificate on him?
You know what I mean?
You got a birth certificate on him? You can't validate his age. He's a young man.
Yeah, he's young. He looked younger than 11. But anyway,
yeah.
Either way,
in the article it said he was 11 years old.
Yeah, again, that's not shit that should be rolling out of a kid's mouth. That shouldn't be a book that kid's reading. I don't care what anybody says. It's it's just not right. It shouldn't be in school anyway. You know what I mean? Everybody saw a Playboy at one point or another, but I mean, this is different type of stuff. This is again like
it's insane.
You teach a kid, man. You know what I mean?
Instead of you being a bully and slapping a kid around, now they're being a bully and saying, "Hey, you don't look gay enough." You know what I mean?
It's crazy, dude. It's sick and twisted shit. And like I said, what I was getting into.
Look what I did.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. What I was getting into is these are the types of things. Again, I can go back so far with it, but this is why we are failing. We're going to fail in the future. These kids, again, they're losing precious time at learning and like things that they need to learn instead of, look at the Chinese children. Like they know how to do algebra when they're like 7. These kids don't even know how to add like 2 + 2. Half of the people that I try to hire are like brain dead drones, or they're some sort of like they just like, this is all I'm going to do. I had a guy tell me, this is all I want to do. I want to run this type of machine on this type of job. And I'm like, how are you going to, that's not how this game is played, dude. I need this, you know what I mean? Like they're just bred to be handed trophies and all this other stuff. And this is what we're focusing on in school instead of actually educating our kids. And we're paying for it. It's sick and twisted.
Can I interject?
Absolutely.
I spent some time on the inside of a school apartment, and I saw what they were doing back then. This was 7-8 years ago now, or maybe more, maybe 9 years ago. When they had these tests, they aren't teaching the children what they should be taught. All they're doing is educating them, showing them page by page what's on these tests, and showing them how to pass this test, because that's the edicts, the recommendations or whatever else being sent out from the people deeper inside the unions. They're hanging these papers up and saying, this is what they're going to do. This is how they're going to do it. Don't bother worrying about your curriculum. Teach the children how to pass the test, because your jobs depend on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand that. But what benefit do these people see in teaching and having this curriculum in their school? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I have no idea what could possibly be going through the minds of people. They must be deranged.
Yeah,
this sort of curriculum.
Again, it just boils back to why do we let this happen, and how do we stop it? I mean, if this was in my kid's school, I don't know. I would flip out, man.
No,
this is such a waste of time.
You'd be just like them other parents that were disgusted with little Johnny was reading that book, and you'd be at them school board meetings. That's where it would start, dude.
Yeah, I listened to these videos and the things that these parents were saying, and it made me sick. I can't believe that this is allowed to be in schools, and not like that it's not even illegal. Like, how is it not illegal to talk about these types of things and have these books in your 6-year-old? It says these kids are, I'm sorry, 6-year-old, sixth grade, as young as sixth grade. How is it possible that these kids can get this material? I just don't. It's baffling to me. So I guess we need to close it down.
If you ask me, it's a form of pedophilia.
Absolutely.
Touche.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
It is a form of pedophilia to be trying to take children 6 years old, 8 years old, and teaching them about acts of sexual intercourse being the conventional or non-conventional form.
Mm-hmm.
It is wrong.
I agree.
They got to put a stop to it.
We
Put a stop to it.
So I'm thinking, how are we going to spearhead this stop, man?
And that's the problem, right? Who are the unions? If they're the ones who are putting these people in place, I mean, again, I swear to God, you can listen to this video. You should put that link up there so people can check on that, Blaze. Like, you really, anybody with kids, you really should listen to all of these videos. It makes you. I wanted to punch my radio. That's how aggravated I was listening to these videos of these parents. These teachers should be removed, but if it's not the teacher and it's coming from somewhere else, where is it coming from? Who's voting on this? Because if you're not even allowed to, again, have a say in what your children are learning in school, then we got to change that too. Everything this is just wrong on every level. It should not be allowed. So I don't know. That is my question. How do you stop it? You were a teacher as well, weren't you, D?
No, that was me giving classes at a school for Veterans Day.
Oh, my bad. I thought for some reason you were the teacher at one point, but
do I look nerdy enough for you? Do I fit the profile?
Yeah, it was all right.
How do we? One thing I know here in El Paso, they got like 30 districts, but they got this new charter school that's going around. It's called IDEA. I don't know if it's made its way up there, but those are private schools and stuff. And I really believe the country needs to fall more back to private schools than public schools, because they're losing it. They're losing the battle, man. And these IDEA kids, I mean, they're screened and all that, but there's rules that these kids go by.
Well, here's another question I have. And I don't know, maybe it does again boil back down to the unions, to the fear of losing your job. I don't know. Where are all the other teachers that work in this school that they can't all think that this is okay?
No, they don't.
I mean, so why are they not speaking out? I mean, this is on another level, dude.
No,
because there's a dude who sits here and talks about his uncircumcised penis in class. How do you not? I mean, if I was in that, I don't care what job I had. I would be like, yo, this guy has got to go. I'd be making some noise. I'd be calling people like, this guy has a serious problem. I mean, if that's it is sexual assault on a freaking minor. It's illegal. Why is he able to do this, dude?
Well, that person that you talk about, that teacher, because I believe 85% of school teachers still have morals and values. But them teachers that see it and know that's going wrong, they have that $500,000 home that they got to make payment on. And their husband's probably a high school teacher somewhere else, and two of them incomes will probably make the payment, but that's about it. You can't have one go down.
Yeah,
we all know
it's
that.
sick, though,
we all
you know what I mean?
That. Yeah,
it's sick, dude.
Yep.
But there's another deeper problem. What is wrong with the morals of this country? We've completely lost our compass, where you're willing to allow this type of shit to go on with children and not speak up just so you can have your $500,000 house. I mean, I don't know. I see this as 30 years ago. Anybody ever said anything like that in class, the dude probably would have been ripped out the back door and had a soap bar party for him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Jim,
Like,
here's how it is. Whether you like it or not, this is how it is in the school's environment. You get in there, you get a job, you pay your dues, you finally get in, and you're protected by the union. You toe the union line, or you're done.
yeah,
That's the way they run it.
yeah. A lot
You
of
wanna talk
unions
about
are
Iron
probably that
Fist.
way.
Yeah, and especially them unions where they get a retirement package.
Yeah,
You
well,
get a
see,
union-
dude, I couldn't work. I would murder that guy. I'll say it right here. I'd choke that prick. No, you'd never have a chance to work in front of another child again. I'd rip your fucking neck out.
Why would you choke the prick? Because it's what?
It's
Come on,
sexual assault on a minor.
damn it, Jim. Twisted shit, buddy.
Oh, twisted shit. Yeah, it's definitely some twisted shit.
No, I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
remember that
I
for a
just
while.
here's another guy, dude.
Here is a librarian that was in one of the schools. He is privately defending pornographic books on sex parties by invoking Holy Bible, slippery slope.
All right,
Take a
Mr.
listen.
P. Let's get fired up now.
What?
It's not about the books. It's not about one book or two books or 10 books. This is a much larger push. They're pushing critical gender theory on kids starting in elementary school. They're encouraging them to get what they call gender creative, and they're transitioning them in the public schools, and they're doing it without prior notification or consent from the parents. And in some cases, they never tell the parents. So I'm encouraging people, like, if you're not able to homeschool, like, please just sit down with your kids and talk to them about what they hear in school. But even by the time, like, my older daughter, just kindergarten and first grade, by the time we pulled her out of school and she started homeschooling, we came to realize that they had already been talking to her at that point about the gender stuff. And like, it sounds harmless and innocuous, but like when you're going to elementary school kids and you're telling them that there's no such thing as gender and some boys are girls and some girls are boys, that's really difficult. Like, think about it. Adults have a hard time processing that idea. So like what it does in their little minds, like, it's very confusing to them. And I'm glad that, I'll just leave it at this. I'm glad that we got her out of school when we did.
I mean,
Mr. B, come on, buddy.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
get fired up.
What would you like to know?
what's your take on that?
What's my take on it?
Yes.
I think this fellow is exactly right. Pull your kids out of the damn fireplace they're calling up, or inferno that they're calling a school. Roasting your children into hell. Trying to teach your children that, okay, oh no, you have these parts, but you're actually this gender instead. Or whatever else that they're doing.
Yeah,
I manipulated.
I wish I could put my kids in private school. I can't afford it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, that's all part of, it used to be.
D knowing your buttons, Mr. B, now.
No, what we need to do, you want to kill the snake, you have to cut off the head.
Roger.
Get the whole batch of the sons of bitches. Drop the unions. Scrub the entire thing and start from scratch.
I agree 100%.
With that being said, we're going to take our last break of the evening.
We did a break already, Blaze, when you went on break.
I
promoted 4 shows. I promoted the Nick Parsons show, Mr. B show, the Seekonk Speedway show, and JJ Souza show.
It was great.
We're good.
Great job.
Very quickly, D, you had mentioned
sir.
things about guns and so forth. We're going to be taking up on my show tomorrow night a very special thing. Finally, getting to the subject matter of, with all the gun shootings and so forth going on at the schools, is it time? Should we be arming our teachers and staff in the schools?
I don't know. Ask Mr.
Think
Jim
about that.
Yeah,
Hey, this is Jerry from the Neutral Corner on FFN Media. Every Thursday night, 7 to 8, catch my show live. We are talking with legends, we're talking with professionals, we're talking with amateurs. We're also talking about gyms and the different programs they have. You can catch us live on FFN Media, 7 to 8 p.m. Not only can you catch us live, you can actually ask questions in the comments and interact with our guests. Hope to see you then.
Hey guys, Nick Parsons here. Come check my show Unbox Thoughts out. Live every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the FFN Radio Network page.
Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen,
Test,
thanks
test,
for
1, 2,
sticking
3.
around. What are you
Test,
doing?
1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for sticking around for the last half hour of The Way We See It. I'm going to go over this little link that D sent earlier and said if we had a little bit of time, we could touch base on it. And it's pretty much like the NBA against the NFL and how really out of character a lot of these young athletes can be. So we're going to take a look at that. Again, it's Instagram. It don't allow you to blow it up, so we'll do the best that we can there. We'll touch base on that for the remainder of the time that we have here on The Way We See It. And like I said, we had a lot to talk about tonight, and actually we're going to save a few things that we did touch base with for next week. And reason we didn't touch base on them, ladies and gentlemen, is because it would be discussed about for longer than a good 20 minutes. So without further ado, let's put this up here, see what everybody thinks and what the panel thinks about this madness that we call the NBA and the NFL.
"36 have been accused of spousal abuse. 7 have been..."
Get that back up there, right, ladies and gents?
NFL. 36 have been accused of spousal abuse. 7 have been arrested for fraud. 19 have been accused of writing bad checks. 117 have directly or indirectly been bankrupted at least 2 businesses. 3 have done time for assault. 71, I repeat, 71 cannot get a credit card due to their bad credit. 14 have been arrested on drug-related charges. 8 have been arrested for shoplifting. 21 currently are defendants in lawsuits, and 84 have been arrested for drunk driving in the last year. How many of you think NBA? How many of you think NFL? Well, the answer is neither. It's the 435 members of the United States Congress.
Who wants to
I
start
didn't
on
see
it?
that coming.
I'd just like to thank one of our listeners out there in Louisiana. His name is Delta Foxtrot. I don't want to say his name, but we appreciate that. And yeah, that kind of blew my mind too, Jim, when I first saw it.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't blow my mind. Actually, I mean, I guess
Oh,
I didn't
it
know where it was
does,
going,
but
it doesn't surprise me. We talk about them all
No,
the time. They're a
no,
bunch of
yes,
crooks. I mean,
yes,
that's what they do for a living is rob people.
yes.
Again, I don't believe that more than 5% of those people are actually in the government in any sort of people, Senate, the House. Any of those people truly give a shit about me and what my problems are around my, dinner table, the common folk, the one that they're always calling everybody folks and what's around my dinner. Bullshit. You don't care.
Yeah, touche. You
Make
got
sure you line your pockets. Again, these people walk in there making over $200,000 at the lowest level of the House or the Senate or any of that. Within like 2 or 3 years, they're millionaires. You know what I mean? They get deals here and there. They're constantly greasing the palms and lining pockets of everybody. It's a big giant shit show now, is what it is. It's not run by the people. We have no say in what happens, and it's a friggin' joke. So I'm actually surprised that it's only 380 out of the, I don't know how many
455.
thousands.
455.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
currently.
You're right. Yeah. Okay, so 455. But
yeah, you're
there's
talking
a
about the
lot more-
veterans.
Yeah, all the people that are involved with all the shit that goes on, which
Yep.
again, it's sickening. So yeah, it's not very surprising. It was just because I didn't expect it, but the actual bullshit is not unexpected.
Right, Mr. B.
Well, first thing I want to mention is that a bankruptcy can happen. It can happen. I mean, it happens. The protections of bankruptcy are there because of the nature of what can happen with businesses. And if someone's unfortunate, whatever happens, you never know what happens that would cause someone to file for bankruptcy. There's several different forms of it too, where you don't lose everything. Everything holds. You restructure things and get back up, stabilized, and get back running and become a viable company again and come out of bankruptcy. That having been said, I'm not going to pull any punches here, boys. You've heard me say it before. Say it again. The monetary masturbation that goes on when you're elected in an office has been going on since before the times of Julius Caesar. What makes you believe that they're going to stop pulling this crap anytime? I have no idea. But politics, as they say, makes for strange bedfellows. It also makes for rich bedfellows. And why? Because of corruption. You're not going to find a way out of corruption. It's just something that's there.
Hey, I got a question for you, Mr. B, real quick. And I know we're all interested in the tragic kidnapping and murder of American citizens down in Mexico. But okay, so these people are employed by the U.S. government, the bankruptcies, all this other stuff. So I'm the CEO of New Jobs. That's in my company, New Jobs, and I pay $300,000 starting off. I'm gonna hire them folks. I'm gonna hire them bankruptcy folks, and I don't care if they fell on bad times or anything like that. But bankruptcy is there to protect people, but some people abuse it.
Understood, absolutely.
They abuse it. So, but my point is, if they're not good enough to work for me, what makes them good enough to work for us? You know, what makes them good? You're out. You know,
right, that's a big red flag on the application. Yeah.
Let's go to Mexico, Blaze, because we can drag this cat for a while, man.
Yeah, I just got one, at least one more little thing I got to put in there. yes, corruption has been around forever, but I think this level of corruption in our own government has not been seen. That I remember. Again, I wasn't around, in the 80s or before that. I didn't pay attention as much, so I really don't know if what I'm saying is fact. But it seems like at this point, it is easier to be corrupt. There are so many more opportunities for people to be corrupt. Just the simple nature of the world and how it is today. So not only are they more corrupt, but they're more brazen, and they really they don't even care anymore. They do it right in your face, and when they get caught, they know that nothing is going to happen. So,
You know what it is, Jim, too, compared to the 70s and 80s, and I lived that, is that the communication out here now is it's crazy. I mean, you give me a half an hour, I can have a list to you of what Paul Pelosi, what he owns in stocks, man, on
yeah,
public, just by one website, Yahoo Money.
Right.
yep,
And we're seeing this, and they think they're the only ones that are getting smarter or educated, but this fucking internet, man, is a
yeah.
telltale on everything that goes on, man.
So
And
maybe
go ahead, Jim.
So maybe it has. Well, but they couldn't do that shit either, like back then. And if they did, I mean, again, we didn't see it, but we know they're doing it, and we can't stop it. I mean, that's the major problem with me. Everything that you look at, all the problems that we have, it doesn't matter. We look at it and go, yes, this is what this person did wrong, but nobody's held accountable.
I agree.
Like, what the hell do we do here? This is insane.
Sooner or later, American people are going to get sick and tired of it enough, and they're starting. They're really starting, and it's starting to show.
You're right, but
And there's
look
going
what
to be
they
a
look what they
bloodletting
did.
because of it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I know a lot of people are tired of this shit. I mean, everybody I talk to is tired of the shit. But look what they did through COVID. They said, shut your doors and get inside your house. And you know what? The overwhelming majority of this company got down on their knees and said, yes, sir. I didn't see a whole lot. There were pockets of people that fought against it. But right there, if that wasn't the biggest test of them saying, we're going to do to you what we want to do to you, we have you by the balls, because the second I say don't go to work and your job is closed, that's it. You're eating out of my hand, and I own you. And it's going to take a lot of death, a lot of destruction, and a lot of, I mean, just absolute fathom, to the point where people are in dire fucking straits, are ready to pack a goddamn powder gun that you make in your backyard to get things moving. And I don't think
How
we're
many
there
Clive
just yet.
and Bundys, how many Ruby Ridges, how many Wacos more is it going to take?
I don't know.
Before our nation wakes up en masse.
I don't know. I wish it didn't have to be that way, but I think it's that way. And I think right now, another thing that Trump said last night in the CPAC thing is nice. Another thing that he said, and he said that a lot of people realize and recognize, I think, and understand this is our last chance. This is the last election that's actually going to matter.
Agree.
And
I agree.
It's been said a handful of times before this one, but I really agree with that sentiment, man. And so I don't know. That may be the answer. We'll find out shortly.
Get rid of the lobbyists. Get rid of the lobbyists.
Blaze,
Good
can
luck.
we close out? Can we close out with Mexico of Mr. B? Do you have anything else to add on this, Jim?
I'm good.
No. I let off.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, 2 passed away and 2 survived. Apparently, the woman in the car was going there for for a medical procedure, cosmetic procedure.
Tummy tuck.
And tummy tuck. And what's that cost out there? $150?
No,
But
it's a couple of thousand, not like tens of thousands here in the United States.
But my point is these poor bastards, people, excuse me,
Yes.
drive into Mexico and get caught in a crossfire of 2 rival gangs.
I don't think they were
And
caught in the crossfire. I think they were targeted.
No, well, from my source and what I'm reading over here, it says they were just in a crossfire of a rival gang, and um, one was already killed from being shot there. They just put that person on the truck. Okay. Um, Let me talk amongst yourselves and our viewers, and I'll bring it up.
So the point so these folks travel all the way to from South Carolina to Matamoros, Mexico. So that's Brownsville. That's all the way on the bottom. They flipped around. I don't know how they got shot or killed, but they look like they were African Americans, and I believe they were. My frustrating point here is right now, where is BLM? Where is BLM knocking? No, I'm
No,
serious.
that's a good point. No.
Knocking on Joe Biden's door. They have a little clout still left. Because this has got to stop, man. Where's Al Sharpton? Where's Jesse Jackson? Oh, they're Mexico. Oh, we have no clout there. Yeah, you do. You got clout there. You never tried.
I get you. I get your point, bro. If
It's
that was
just
done here in the United States, they'd all be out. They'd
yes.
all be out. Now it happens in Mexico. What? Because it's a different country, you can't come out and be against it. Let's take a listen.
Report about the 4 U.S. citizens who were abducted in Mexico last Friday. This news coming to us according to the local governor in Mexico. 2 of those Americans are now dead. The group was kidnapped by a cartel in a northern border city. Relatives of the victims say they traveled into Mexico for medical procedures. Authorities believe the group might have been mistaken for drug smugglers. CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca is in Brownsville, Texas. That's just over the border where those Americans were kidnapped. Omar, thanks for joining us on such short notice. What can you tell us about what the governor in that state of Mexico has said?
And I want to add a little bit to that attribution, Vlad. It was the governor of Tamaulipas and also the attorney general of Tamaulipas have both reported that 2 of the 4 Americans, as you mentioned, who were kidnapped, were killed. Another one of those, the third American, was injured. We do not know the condition of that American, and another one was not hurt. Now, here's what we're trying to figure out. Who has passed away and who is injured and who is still alive? We're trying to get the proper names assigned with that. We know the names of the 4 people who were abducted, but we don't know at this point who is alive and who is dead. It's worth noting at this point that the U.S. government has been working with the Mexican government, and the Mexican government has said that they formed a task force to go and look for these people who were abducted last Friday. And another big question is, where are they? Where were they discovered? We don't know yet. We're trying to figure out the condition of the people who are still alive and where they are and if they are in safe hands. A lot of unanswered questions, but unfortunately the information we do know is not good. 2 have passed away, 1 injured.
That's crazy.
Oh, that shit is sad, man.
So,
That shit
Mr.
is
B.
sad.
Yes, sir.
Your thoughts?
My thoughts? 2 words: helicopter gunships.
Agree. Do you think that there should be some retaliation from us to those one of those cartels right now? D.
Wow, that's a tricky question, man, and it's
Yeah.
kind of a dicey question because our economy is heavily invested in Mexico and vice versa. My biggest thing here is I heard somebody say we never invaded a Latin American country. Yes, we did. Colombia, we did it,
Yeah.
and we went after that cartel. And yeah, we lost some agents, which is to be expected. But Colombia is not what it used to be. That's all I got on.
No. I understand what you're saying.
And this is not a warning. This is straight fact. The cartels are already here.
In this country, absolutely.
Yes, and the states. And I looked
They
it up.
brought their organizations with them crossing the border. Absolutely.
No, the Juarez cartel is here. So I looked up there, up northeast, who's responsible for y'all supplying y'all with some good old Mexican Acapulco gold. They don't have that shit no more. But the Sinaloa cartel, it's crazy, man.
Really?
Yeah, man.
You know,
Yep.
is
And
the
that's how it's divided amongst them.
yeah. I mean, I think it's some. If this was I don't know. It's crazy because, first of all, why would you go there? It's
cheaper.
there's like a level 4 restricted, not restricted.
Level
A level 4,
you're right.
yeah, do not travel area. Like,
Right, and level 4 is the highest.
again, there's nobody deserves to be kidnapped and shot by any means. But I mean, what the hell, man? Stay the fuck out of there. Obviously it's heavy in drug cartels, and there's warnings. People get abducted and shot and all the
Yeah,
other shit.
but I don't think the warning.
Our response to that should be there should be a response to that. There are American citizens that your drug cartel kidnapped. So you can't just let other countries' cartels kidnap your people without some sort of repercussion. So I'm saying nuclear war. No, I'm just no, but I mean, honestly, there should be
like Mr. B
consequences
says,
somewhere. We should
2
be
words:
able to,
gunships.
yeah. I mean, if this was in another country, we'd be doing what we could to get these people back. It all depends on who they are, I guess.
I think it was CNN that was did they come out and said that the reason they selected that area to go for the procedure, I think they were advertising a 2-for-1 special that week.
Yeah, exactly. With a couple of shots of tequila on your way out the door. I think there should be retaliation. I think what Mr. B said, gunships. You talk to the president of Mexico. You say, look, just let us wipe out a couple of their secret spots or whatever. You send them a message or whatever. You know what I mean?
Time out. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Listen to what I said. The cartels are already in this country. You don't think if we go bomb this shit out of them, the president will be briefed by the CIA and say, Mr. President, there will be American casualties?
You think they would retaliate here in this country?
Oh fuck yeah! If they receive the order, you guys know that. If they receive the order to retaliate, yeah, they're gonna take out Americans, man. Oh yeah,
I agree.
man.
I agree with that.
If the fort is falling, come on, guys.
Right.
What do they got to lose?
This is another whole situation with
that
border
being
stuff
said,
that we can. Yeah, that's a whole nother show. Yeah,
that's a whole nother show. I mean, you could try to put it in 10 minutes. Nice try, Mr. D. But
no, you can't not mention it. I mean, it's still an
we
story.
mentioned it in the beginning of the show.
It's still new to me too. I didn't know all the facts, so I really wasn't ready for it. But
right, no, it was good that we jumped on it for a little while. I appreciate that.
Man, Jim.
With that being said, 15 seconds. D, you go.
Mr. B, I am politicking for you to be a permanent member of this show. I hope I'm not infringing on anything. No, but you're a real good dude, man, and I love having you as a special guest. Jim, thanks. Blaze, you say you took responsibility for fucking up that video, queuing it. So what do you got to do? You got to apologize, right?
I already did.
Right?
I already did.
You didn't apologize to our viewers, but is that enough? Because that's what Dr. Fauci is going to say. That's what Dr. Fauci is going to say.
Exactly,
I'm sorry.
and I'll be like
so
the
he's
American
good then, right?
people, the viewers.
Got you, Jim.
They don't know
You're on,
what's
brother.
going on. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I don't accept just an apology either, please. No, I second if Mr. B would like to be a regular on the show. I would love to be graced by his presence.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you do a great job, better than I do. And I love bouncing conversations off you.
Yes,
I think a lot of our views align, and some of them are just like this, so it works out perfectly. And thank you as well, D. Thank you, Blaze.
Yes, sir.
And have a good night, gentlemen.
Mr. B.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm looking very much forward to tomorrow night. I'm going to have two people for the regulars. I have a fellow by the name of Scott Dukasher, who has been in the private security business for decades now. And I'm going to have a lady who is nothing more than a homemaker, mother of 6 children.
God bless her.
We're going to be discussing whether or not we should start just arming the teachers and the staff and getting things, because the children need to be protected, and they're not well enough.
Time of your show tomorrow?
7 o'clock tomorrow night, 7 to 8. It's going to be a 1-hour program. Be there or be somewhere else, wherever. Love to have you. And Blaze, if we can have that message board like we have the site over here for the people who show up can write things in. If there's a way of putting it in, I would genuinely appreciate it. Last thing I have to say is, it's like George Carlin used to say, it takes 2 fingers to make a peace sign, just like it takes 2 people to take love. If you go like this, you're.
Did a Jeffrey Tubin on us.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been a fun time.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yes, sir.
thanks again for sticking around with us for a full 2 hours right here on FFN Network and The Way You See It. We'll see you next Tuesday at the same time, same station. Peace and love to each and every one of you out there, and good night.
Why do you believe what you believe? Because at some point in your life, you trusted the information that somebody was giving you. And that someone you trusted told you that a car was a car, a tree was a tree, a bird was a bird, the blue stuff above you is the sky. And that's the way that we began to determine what we believe to be a fact. Most of the things that we believe to be a fact in our lives are told to us through our stories or the news that we hear. So my question would be, if they were deceiving you with the stories they tell you, would you be able to recognize that?